How's it going, guys? Welcome back to Let's Clone Space Invaders. This is part 4, and I am Stephen French. In this video we will be cleaning up... No, we will not. In this video we will be finishing up the game, getting it playable, a little more fun, and yeah, that's about it. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. So before we get started, let's add in some sprites that are in the assets folder. If you don't have it, you can find it in the description. We need the player's death, so we're going to create a sprite, load sprite, wherever you have this folder right here, sprites, player, and we're looking for player death 0 and 1. Over here we will call this sprite player. Whoa! Wow, completely impressive. Ah! Silly keyboard. Sprite player death. Sorry about that. Center that image and we're good. That is all we need here. But we will create a group. We're going to call this group system. I don't really know why. I don't know what to call it. So system. And in here we're going to put our buttons and menu things. Actually it might just be buttons. Buttons, backgrounds, stuff like that. So come into oh, it's right here still. We have buttons. We're going to need our play again. 0 and 1, so we'll just do play again now. We'll call this sprite play again. Center it, done. We will need our quit button. Sprite quit, center it and done. And we're going to need our play game or start button. Sprite, we'll just do start, center that, and done. Lastly, we will need the game end screen, which will be load. Let's come back one space. It's in background, and we're going to call this the sprite end game. Oops, sprite end, oops, and center that. Next step is to quickly create a background. You'll find that other image in that same folder, but Space Invaders. And we will call this background menu. So the first thing we're going to do is quickly tackle the start menu. We're going to pop up saying Space Invaders, and give us a play button, going right into the game. So to make that, we need to do a couple things. So the first thing we need to do is create an object for our play button. So, I called this environment and I called it system on my other project. We're just gonna make a new one for system. Why not? Throw the system object inside of system. We're going to insert an object, call this object start. My hand doesn't want to stand in the correct spot of this keyboard. Start game. Here, system start. We're going to make this, keep this visible. We are going to give this a step event only. Come down here and drag in our script. Now we only need a step event because it does need to run every loop. This button needs to check if the mouse is over it so it can change its highlight and then respond to a click if the mouse is over. So we do this in pretty few lines of code. So start off with a title, play, game. Here we have if position meeting mouse X mouse Y ID. Now this will pretty much return true if mouse X and mouse Y are in the same position as ID or self object. From here we're going to change image index equal to 1, so it's going to highlight when the mouse is over, and we'll say else image index equals to 0. So when the mouse is not over the button, it's back to its regular image. So that'll make the button appear and respond to hovering, but now we need to pay attention to a click. So if mouse check button pressed, let's go with pressed, why not? And we want this set up for mouse button left. So if the mouse button is pressed, then we need to perform an action. This action will be room go to next. And that's all we need. I'm going to make the button now, place it in the room, and that little bit of code will do exactly what we want. But there is a particular way that room go to works. So we're going to come in here, create a new room. Let's quickly go to this room to make sure what the dimensions are. I cannot talk. English is hard. 576, 480. So we would like 576, 480. We're going to call this room menu. Call it whatever you want. And let's see. Backgrounds. Come down here. Choose our background menu for Space Invaders. Come to Objects, System. Take our Start button. And let's see, is there a way to center this? Width is 546, so I'm going to say that's 250, 273. Oh, there we go. Play game. Just a really cheesy way to get that to line up well. Probably something simpler that I could have done. But this is the only, I guess, tricky part. Not really. It's just that the room that's on top is the room that will launch with the game. So when we call room go to next, it just goes to the next room. And in other words, we would have just started in the game, and we don't want that. It's pretty simple. So press play and see how this works. Come on. So, Space Invaders. That's not centered. Whatever. Play game. Highlights works. Clicks goes right to the game. Fantastic. But let's get out of here. That was a little off because I don't know how to type. It's supposed to be 576. Where's my pen? Now for the player animation. Let's let this guy die. Player. Oh, we are in Sprites. Let's get out of Sprites. Object. Player. Player. Step event. And movement. Now this last part is pretty simple since we have most of the code already done. So we're just going to go down to this last part for when we update our position. We have if alive x plus equals h speed. Else, meaning that we are no longer alive or we're just now declared dead, then we will do sprite index is equal to sprite, what do we want? Player death. Done. Now if our player is hit, his animation, he will be then told to no longer be alive, and he will go back to being dead, or he will go to the dead animation, and then the respawn will happen, and we will set his index back to his player animation, and he will just be fine. And since that animation is of black and white images, he will just blink a bit. So he's no longer able to move, he's invulnerable, he's blinking, and he's dead. And then he comes back to life. It's beautiful. So next up is our UFO. Let's kill him and get some points from him. God, I'm still in Sprites. Back here, enemies. So let's come into the UFO, create. We're going to get rid of image speed equals 0 because we actually want to have an image speed for this part. We're going to give him an alive boolean, set that equal to true, and we need to get a show points boolean, which will set equal to false. This is because if you play Space Invaders, when you kill a UFO, they die and their score pops up there. May as well show how to do it. Now we're just going to need a very simple alarm code. All we want to do when we have this alarm pop up, we are going to do show points is equal to false, so we no longer show those points, and instance destroy. So we just kill the UFO. Next, coming down to the step event, come up to move. Let's kind of decide what happens when he dies. So we're going to say if he is alive, then we can just do exactly what we... Why did I do that? Oh, I don't know what I was thinking. If alive, damn, then he can do exactly what he was doing. Else, and this gets to be the more code part. Come on. Now the first thing we want to do is we want to set show points equal to true. So we start blasting those up on the screen. And then we want to set the alarm. Now what's tricky here is since he is no longer alive here, alive is false. Every time we loop through, we're going to see this code. So if we typed in alarm it was alarm 0, I believe, is equal to 50, then we would think that that would work. But right now we're setting alarm 0 to 50. In the next frame, it's supposed to go down to 49, but we're setting it to 50 again. In the next frame, we're setting it to 50, and it'll just never be called. So there's probably an easier way around this. I don't know one personally, so I just do this. If alarm 0 is less than 0, well, yeah, then alarm 0 is equal to 50. Now, since alarm 0 has to count down, once it gets down to -1, then we're allowed to pop this screen again. But we won't by then because the object will already be destroyed. And next, all we need to do is set image speed equal to, we'll try 1. I don't know. But that actually reminds me that we did need to have an image speed of 0. Sorry about that. Image speed 0. So we'll keep that. So the last event that we're going to need is a draw event. Draw events let us draw, it kind of controls where the sprite is drawn. We can have things drawn behind the sprite, in front of the sprite. Things like that, we can draw words, all different stuffs. So here we're just going to use it to draw the text for our score. So 1, 2, 3, draw score. And we actually need to do a code draw underscore self first. If we forget that, then the sprite itself won't be drawn, or if we do that at the end, then like I said, everything will be drawn behind it, or rather in front of it. If we do that at the end, it's top down. So here we need to do a draw set color. We're going to set this to C underscore lime. I just liked how this looked, so I chose it. And now all we need to do is check if show points is equal to true. Then we are going to do a draw text, and I found these positions to work. X minus 16, Y minus 8. Let me just make sure that was a period. 7, okay. X minus 16, Y minus 8, and string points. Now this character already has a points variable. It knows how many points the current UFO is worth, and string just kind of allows us to use that as just a word instead of a value, or rather as a text instead of a value. Next, last, we just need to come down to our object laser, come into our UFO, and here we collect the points, and then we take the laser itself and we destroy it. We don't want to do that anymore. All we want to do here, let's actually get rid of the with event. All we need to do here is set other.alive equal to false. So we're just going to kill him but not destroy the object. And that's all we need for this part to be done, well, this UFO part. So let's jump in, play this, and hopefully we can see this pretty quick. Go down, play game. Missed him. And here we go. Let's fucking miss. And another try. Got him. He blinks, letters are green, doesn't look great, but hey, it's Space Invaders and yeah. So moving on, we're almost done. Let's quickly add a couple more objects to the game, the other buttons that we had. So come down here to system, we just did our start button, now we need a play again and a quit. So play again, object underscore play again. We're actually going to untick this visible box. That means that when it is entered into the game, it is able to be seen. Unticked, it is not able to be seen. Pretty nice. We're going to add event, step event, pretty similar to the one that we did for the menu. So 1, 2, 3, play again. This time we are concerned if the game is over. So object underscore, oops, system dot game over. And the same code as before, if position underscore meeting, mouse X, mouse Y, ID, and the same thing here as well, image index is equal to 1. I just like to kind of do this part as I go, else image index is equal to 0. And lastly, if mouse button checked, or mouse check button, mouse button underscore left. I think I did check button press before. It doesn't really matter. But if the mouse is pressed, then we want to room underscore restart. That will just restart the room. But before we do anything more, let's create a the quit button. Come down here. I will just duplicate to make it a little bit easier. Find system quit, object quit, and let's just change this little bit of code. And the only thing we need to change is right here. We don't want to restart the room, we want to restart the whole game. And let's really quickly drag these into the game room. So this is going to be in the room where we're actually playing. Go to objects, system, play again. I'll just drag this, I think right there would be fine. And what was our other one? System quit. Come over here. That looks, they might be centered. That's close enough to centered. But to make these buttons actually work and appear, we need to first come down into our system, our step event, and our win-lose script. Got to do a little bit here. Now we know what to do if we win, although we're going to get rid of that pop-up display because we just really need the game to restart. But there are a couple conditions for if we lose. First off, if lives is less than or equal to 0. Now we've been using lives, but we haven't applied it to anything. We've just been changing the variable. Now this is for logical OR, and inside of this we have two comparisons, or two what are these? I don't know why I can't think of it. Parameters, sure. We need to know if object underscore exists. Oh, this is the problem. Object exists, object underscore enemy. And we need to know if object, or if that very same object enemy dot y is greater than or equal to 320. Now what this means is that we can lose under two conditions. One, lives goes down to 0. Pretty simple. Or if our objects are, their y coordinate is greater than 320. So they've moved close enough down. Just from playing the other games, it didn't really seem, like, it seemed relatively arbitrary as to how low they got before it won. Actually lost, but 320 seems to work well on this end. Now we're also checking for if the object exists, because if you kill all the objects, but for some reason this hasn't counted down first, when you go to check to see if there's an enemy at this location, it'll just throw an error saying that this enemy doesn't exist. So bam, canceling that out. And there's a few things that we need to do here. So first thing we need to do is we want to kill the rest of the enemies, the ones that are remaining. So kill enemies with object enemy instance destroy. Oi, destroy yourself. Cool. Next thing to do is to make the buttons visible. Make buttons visible. Object, what do we have? Play again. Dot visible is equal to true. And object underscore quit dot visible is equal to true. Next, we need to make sure that the player stops moving. So object dot player dot alive is equal to false. It shouldn't be a dot, but rather an underscore. So player alive is equal to false, and game over is equal to true. Almost done. Right now everything would work, but we're missing a couple things aesthetically, so let's do that quickly. First, come down and create a draw event. And we are almost done. Last we need is a draw event. So come down here to draw GUI. Draw GUI works pretty similar to draw sprite at times, but it's more for drawing things that overlay the room, and it'll just appear in front of everything, so you're good. And here we are going to draw, let's say, data. And we're going to control this whether or not the game is over. So let's start off saying if the game is not over. I like to handle these first. Call me an optimist. Else, and we actually only have one code to write here. And that is, if the game is over, we need to draw sprite, and we're drawing the sprite underscore, what was it, end? Do we call it end? Yeah, I think it did. And we will give it subimage 0, x coordinate 0, y coordinate 0. Quickly coming back to check just in case. Ah, we centered it. That would have been bad. Make sure the origins are 0 and 0. I'll be sure to let you know of that earlier when I made the mistake. And silly me, I accidentally forgot a couple things. So first we're actually going to have to draw, well not first, but we're going to draw the score and the score background. So first, let's do a draw set color. And we're going to make that again, C underscore lime. Just kind of what the game calls for. And we are going to do a draw set H align. Yeah. We're going to do this as an FA underscore center. Now what that does is the text that we draw is going to be centered around, like if we place the text here, it'll spread out the more you write. It'll be centered on the screen. It's pretty much it. And we will do that with a draw text. We're going to give it the x coordinate of room underscore width divided by 2. So we're in the middle of the room. Y, we're going to give it a 210 value just because it sits better under the score logo. And the string will also be string points. And we are done with that event. Oops, I had accidentally set that before. So now when the game is over, when we die, we will set up the showing the score screen. Set up the showing. Set up the showing? I can't talk. God damn. We're going to change the color to green. Going to show the score in the center of the screen as green and centered. And lastly, to finish up this damn game, we have a little bit more to draw. So here we're going to draw the white text, and then underneath that we will draw the green text. In other words, we would have to call this set color every time, and we don't want to waste time with that. So in our draw white text, we're going to draw set color. If you can spell correctly the first time, it's a little easier. C underscore white. If you want, you can do these at the same time. Copy this, paste this, change it to C underscore lime. So here we're going to draw two things, the score and the lives. So draw text, and these, again, these numbers are numbers that I found fit correctly. 10, 10, and we're going to give this in quotes, score, colon, space. Done. Then draw text 500, 10, lives, colon, space. And now on to the drawing of the green. Draw text 70, 10. We're going to actually draw the points. So string points. And draw text 555, 10. We're drawing the number of lives. The last thing we want to draw is just a green line along the bottom that all of the games seem to have. So we're going to draw underscore line, underscore width, underscore color. So I guess I can use color or color. That's nice. And I'm going to have to read these off of the other screen because I don't quite remember. We have 0, 416, 576, 416, 2, and C underscore lime. And I done goofed up. So let me just see what's going on here. Wrong number of arguments in the function. This one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I need another C underscore lime. Good. All right. So it seems if you do color instead of color, you can't actually see what these parameters are down in the bottom. So we'll just do color for that. You can see that the first number is our x1 and our y1 coordinates, meaning where the line is going to start. x2, y2 coordinates, where it ends. And since we're just drawing across, the y-axis is the same. The width of the line, which is 2, the first color and the second color, because you can make this color a gradient or possibly the outline. If you were to middle click on this, it would tell you. But we don't need to do that. We are done with our game. And let's try to prove it. Let's play it a bit and see if everything works out the way that we wanted it to. Or I guess the way that I wanted it to. You guys didn't really get to pick how the game worked. But maybe next time. So here's our game. Space Invaders. Play it. And let's do some of the dying first. If we get a chance to do a UFO, it'd be nice. But we just died. Now you see lives is set. Oops, I should probably use this hand. Lives is set to 2. Let's try and take out this here alien. Bang, we have 300 points as per him. Points are going up as we kill. I'm dead twice. And I'm dead thrice. Score 300. But we don't have buttons. I mean, at least I couldn't see the buttons. And I think I know why. Oops. Turns out I made a whole bucket of mess ups, so we're going to fix those really, really quick. For starters, our system event changed the depth to -10. That's just why some things wouldn't appear in front of others. In our draw event, we actually need to get rid of this sprite. We don't want to draw the sprite on the GUI because then everything else is covered up. So I'm going to come down to a regular draw event, and copy this code, which is if the game is over, then that very same draw script, or draw code, draw line, and a couple more little silly mess ups too. We're going to come down to our play again button and our quit button. These need to be set to a depth of -11, so they appear in front of that. We need to create a create event for image speed 0. I don't know why I didn't need to do this before. My last game worked fine without it, but whatever. Create image speed 0 and then step event. I accidentally swapped up room restart and game restart. So play again should be room restart. It should be at a depth of -11, image speed of 0, and also, because I messed up a whole bunch, this else needs to be inside of this parenthesis, because it is if the mouse is over, else 0. So that what was happening for me when I got it to work is the mouse would go over and then it would permanently set to its highlighted image. So let's go make those same changes to quit. So quit -11, come down to a create event. Image, sorry guys about this, speed is equal to 0. Step event. Make sure that this one is game restart as we are quitting the game. And let's put this else statement at the correct location. And now we're good to play the game and be done with it forever. Play. 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 Got it. Play. Alright. Okay, that's not how we click. Collecting scores, shooting barricades, roaming around. Game's looking clean. We see how many lives we have. We see our score. Oh, we can die. What's that? We somehow died twice. Ignore that. That didn't happen. And let's actually kill one more UFO. Let's try to kill this guy now. 250 points, right for us. And we lost. Score 300. Shall we play again? Yeah, sure, why not? I don't know why score went off the screen there. That's homework. You guys can figure that one out. 115 points. Yeah, it's a playable game. It's a quittable game. It's a play againable game. And it's a playable game. Huzzah. And that's that. We have made Space Invaders. It doesn't look great, but it's a finished little game. Maybe someday down the road I'll go into like how to upload scores or make like a high score board and all that jazz. Probably not. I am considering making a polish video, so just adding in some actual animations and better looking sprites, kind of theming the game to be my own. But if I don't do that, it's not really the end of the world. You guys have everything you need to get that part done. And there's that. To finish up our first Let's Clone, we have a working version or a working game of Space Invaders. Not the most fun game to make, not the most fun game to play, but it's a good place to start for this channel. So if you enjoyed this channel, if you enjoyed this idea, and you want to see some other games made, let me know what games you have on your mind. Put them right in the comments, and I'll strongly consider anything I hear. If you don't like this video or this idea, then please let me know why. What would you like to see? And I'd like to accommodate to that. I have a lot of free time and YouTube's kind of fun, so keep me posted. So until next time, I'm still Stephen French. Thank you so much for being a part of this, and have a nice day.